Good evening, folks. Welcome to Reaching Out with Eddie. You haven't saw me in a while because I haven't been doing this show, and I took down all of the previous Reaching Out with Eddie podcast because I want to kind of like do things differently. I want to be able to communicate with you effectively, without being profane or provocative or disrespectful or using words that perhaps may upset certain segments of the community. I want to be able to make a difference. And so you can kind of say that this is something that I'm doing new, or it's a fresh start. And I got that fresh start from Jimmy Copeland. Those of you that don't know him, hope within the next coming 3 weeks that you will get to know him, such as I have gotten to know him. I can say this to you that he has an office on the corner of and 20, uh, 4th Street and 25th Avenue. That's right, catacomb or diagonally from Mr. Car Wash. Now, I strongly suggest that you go by there and meet him and allow for him to introduce himself to you. I'm going to give um, I'm going to give you a phone number where you can reach him. This is Copeland for Mayor. As You can't see it, but that's kind of like what he looks like. But a phone number where you can reach him is 601 274 7173. That's 601 274 7173. He's excited to meet you. He'll be glad to meet you and just talk about some of the things that he see where Meridian can do better and how he can help implement change. And you notice the three terms that I've used: implement change, where Meridian can do better, a fresh start. I'm using that for myself. Is that this is a fresh start for me. So while I will get upset, while I will raise my voice, I still can do so in a manner that's indicative of my education. Um, I want to talk about a couple of things today. And so I want you all to share this with your friends. Share. I want to, first thing I want to do is I want to tell you that I'm no longer a citizen of Meridian, Mississippi, the state of Mississippi, or Lauderdale County. However, I own property in Lauderdale County, so I have a vested interest in Lauderdale County. I have children that live in Lauderdale County, and I have family members that live in Lauderdale County. I want to say this to my family. I'm going to, well, I'm going to tell you peoples out there is that when you say that you voted and they keep a record of every time you vote. They keep a record of whether you vote Democrat or Republican. So when you tell someone a lie, whereas a person that's running for office, you say, "Well, I voted for you." It's easy for them to verify that. They don't. It's nothing to go and check. But how about they have what you call a voters roll or history report? And what I did is I purchased the history report of Lauderdale County. In other words, this is an exact number. I have the exact number of the people that voted in the primary on April Fool Day. I have the exact number of the Democrats that voted and the exact number for the people that voted in the Republican primary. So you had two primaries on April 1st, Republican and one Democrat. And I have those numbers. Also, I have the names and the address of everyone that voted in that election. And I can tell you, folks, is that I was very, very surprised to see that some of your names were not on that list. And I'm not going to call anyone out because I can understand to a certain degree why your name wasn't on that list. It's because you didn't like either candidate. You did not like the person that was running for mayor. You didn't like the person. Obviously, you didn't like any of the people that was running for, maybe if you was in Ward 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, you didn't like any of the peoples in the prospective ward that you lived in. And so you did not vote. I say that to some of you out there, you know better. Some of you was living when the civil rights workers was slain in Meridian, Mississippi in June 1st, 21st in 1964. Some of you were living. You may have been 7 or 8 years old. But even so, those of you that live in Meridian and know what takes place in Meridian, no, it doesn't matter what race you are, doesn't matter what your gender is. It's sad that you would live in Meridian, Mississippi, and you y'all hear Two Bear talking. He said, brother, you dress rather nice. It's because I have joined the Copeland campaign. And when I go out on the Copeland campaign, I want to make sure when you see me that I say presentable. You know, I represent the person that seeking the office to represent you guys. Now, let me tell you why I'm supporting Copeland, and we'll get back to the voters' role. I'm supporting Copeland because I think that Meridian deserve a fresh start, and that's one of the things that he say. It says right here, Meridian needs a fresh start, and that's here. Of course, this reverse, so you won't see it unless you have dyslexia. But Meridian deserves a fresh start. And the irony in this is that when I deleted all of my previous podcasts, I didn't delete them because I had never met the man. I've wanted to meet him. I've sent messages to people that was um, allegedly close to him to contact me. But you know what? Now I know some of you gonna be somewhat surprised, but sometimes things have a way of working itself out. I ended up going to 31st Baptist Church, um, not this a Sunday before last on a program. They had 137 years. They have been a church in Meridian, Mississippi. They came into being in 1988. Wow, 137 years. So I helped Reverend Coleman celebrate that anniversary by being a participant there. And there I met Miss Thompson, Tammy Thompson, and she got my number. And anyway, Mr. Copeland ended up calling me. And not only that, I met other peoples there. And a lot of people are concerned that Meridian is going back. And I want to talk a little bit, and before I'm going to deviate and go back to the voters roll, is that the voter rolls identify who did not vote. And how does it do that? Is because we have a what you call a walking list. A walking list is a list from every ward that tells you the people that are registered to vote it, along with their address in that ward. So when you look at the walking list of the people that are registered to vote and compare it to the people that did vote in the primary, it is sad the way so many of you out there did not vote. Do you know that people died for that, such as Schwerner, Cheney, and Goodman, just to name a few? So many people were killed, prosecuted, persecuted. The separate but equal. You don't remember how things were. Look at what happened to Emmett Till, and look at Malcolm. Look at Martin. Look at all the people who were killed just because our ancestors, the people that were before us, wanted to vote to be able to help control what takes place in their lives. That is the same reason that you vote today, is in order to be able to take control, to be able to help control the narrative in your life. If you do not vote for people, if you do not vote, you, in a sense, you're allowing for things to remain the same or become even worse because of oppression, being repressed, being not able to feed yourself, being not being able to feel safe walking in your community. A lot of you out there are not able to feel safe when you walk to the store because the police in Meridian, Mississippi, or the sheriff deputy in Lauderdale County is going to pull you over. You can't even drive in your vehicle. They use pretext stop. You ran the stop sign. Your light is out on your tag. Your mirror is broke. All these things they use, and the first thing they want to do is that I want to search your car. Do you mind? Listen to me, people. Do not ever give anyone, it doesn't matter whether or not you're breaking the law, you have a right to be secure in your person. It doesn't matter. Never give anyone permission to search your vehicle. If they insist upon searching your vehicle, tell them to go and get a search warrant and come back with that search warrant, or have the supervisor come up, because chances are they are breaking your law. This takes place more so than it needs to take place in Meridian, Lauderdale County, Mississippi. Here it is that we have a black administration, and you showed Jimmy Smith that you were very dissatisfied with him because you only gave him 800 votes. You Jimmy Smith, you were trounced. It's not how many votes you lost by, it's how many votes you did not get, Jimmy. It's about 13,000 votes, more or less. that did not vote for either you or Percy. So this is most of the citizens in Meridian, Mississippi, are dissatisfied with your administration. So you did good with the roads, but you didn't do right by the citizens. You didn't do right by your constituency. Percy's no mandate that you got less than 3,000 votes. There's also 13,000 votes that you did not get. So Copeland has a very real chance of winning, folks. Okay, let's talk about Person when he ran for mayor. He ran for mayor, I think the first time in 2009 or 2011. It doesn't matter. He didn't win the first time he ran. He ran when Lolo and I hooked up with him. And his slogan then was a change is going to come. By, change going to come by Sam Cooke. And sure, change did come, not for the better. Things did not get better under the Bland administration. Sure, you had black faces in places, but the quality of life for the citizens of Meridian, Mississippi went down. The crime went up under him. You had more black folks being killed by police officers that was not from the same, white police officers killing black folks. You had you have a road police force that have a jump out unit. I guess it's the SWAT team or the narcs or the narcotic unit that are notorious for violating people's rights then, and they're doing so under the Jimmy Smith administration. So it's time for these issues to be addressed, and the only way that they're going to be addressed is that a change need to come, but not for things to get worse, but for things to get better, not for black people, but for all people. Percy Bland did not do that. He took people that were not qualified to be in the position that they were in, and he gave them high ranking position over people that were qualified. You have two lawsuits now. One from Lieutenant Jacks. Rita Jacks has a lawsuit against the city of Meridian. So does Detective Van. And I had a lawsuit against them. Lolo never did file a lawsuit, but I had a lawsuit against them. And the purpose of that lawsuit was for the fake charges that the Bland administration, his police force, put against me. Now they went away. Jimmy's doing the Smith administration, not because he instructed his police officer. He knew they were trumped up charges. But it was Cassie Coleman, the Lauderdale County District Attorney, district meaning for Lauderdale County, I think Wayne Clark County, and Kemper County. She's the attorney for the district attorney for all four of those districts. She ordered that those charges be dismissed against me and never brought before her again. Rochester Anderson continued until she stopped him from doing that. And now it was Joseph Denson that finally they dismissed Lolo charges, and then they expunged them. But to this day, they have not expunged my charges. And that's okay with that. But we're going to eventually hold them accountable for that. And another thing too, Osei, so what the Smith did is that he still had the same chief of police, but he brought someone out of retirement, Deborah Young, who was actually not as qualified as most of the officers that were still there to be chief of police, while I think Dubose actually literally runs the police station himself. I think what he should have done is just gave Dubose the job. It would have saved the city a lot of money because he's getting a chief salary for whatever it is that he do. And he done that for 4 years. And his wife almost make the same thing he did to be some secretary. She's the highest paid secretary in the state of Mississippi. But anyway, you saw through that and you're done with that. So Jimmy Smith said, we can do better. He's right. We can do better. Change is going to come. Percy Bland, we can do better. Jimmy Smith, he didn't do better. Change didn't come. But guess what? Meridian deserves a fresh start. Each time when Percy Bland ran for office, Meridian deserved a fresh start. They did not get that. When Jimmy Smith ran under we can do better, Meridian deserved a fresh start then. They did not get that. So 13,000 people are out there that are dissatisfied with the direction of the city of Meridian. You all can make a difference. So a fresh start is what Copeland is offering you. Let's talk about some of the things that he's going to do if he was to get this job as mayor. One of the things that he said he's going to address is why Copeland for mayor. He will address crime. One of the ways of doing that is to offer better pay for the police officer. He will ensure that police officers receive a better pay that's competitive with other agencies in the area. Another thing that he would do, he said that he would create a more effective camera system. You have a camera system there that only put money in folks' pocket because it does not see anything or do anything. It's just put there. And also a better, he wants to help facilitate a better working relationship with law enforcement. He meaning that he want the citizens to have a better working relationship. Also, he want in government a better working relationship with the city council. In the last two administrations, it's been somewhat of an antagonistic relationship between the mayor's office and the city council. It wouldn't be like that under Mayor Copeland's. Also, economic development, not just bringing in hotels, not just bringing in restaurants, not just bringing in low-paying jobs. And when I say low-paying job, is any job that pay $15 or less is a low-paying job. It's not a livable wage. What Mayor Copeland would do as mayor, Mr. Copeland would do, Jimmy Copeland would do as mayors, is that he would bring in, he would help recruit livable jobs like they used to have, like when AT&T was in Meridian, like when Delco Remy was in Meridian. He would help bring those type of jobs by addressing things such as crime, by addressing the school system. Here you have a failed school system. He would address things like that, meaning that we're going to have better pay for the teachers. We're going to have a merit system for the teachers, meaning that if a teacher or a superintendent school is not getting accreditation, it's time for that person to go. If the person cannot do the job, like Donald Trump say, you got to fire them. And so that's one of the things is that, and he would implement a 10-year plan for economic development in Meridian. Never heard anyone say that. This is what he would do if you select him. Now let's talk about, I don't know him. You didn't know Percy. You didn't know Jimmy. At least you thought you did, but you didn't. But how about everybody? One thing that my sister said a long time ago, she said, let's give him a chance. And this is Percy Bland. We gave him 8 years and we fired him. Why would you bring him back? What is it that Percy Bland did in those 8 years that want you to have him come back? You like him playing basketball and drinking beer with you? You like that? No, it's time for a real change. It's time to get rid of Percy Bland. Okay. As in the city government, a Copeland administration will help will have a productive relationship with the city council, and that's better communication and transparency with all citizens. See how they got it locked down now? I think during a Copeland administration, there will be more transparency and better communication between all citizens, and it should be like that. Now, folks, I want to thank you all for listening in. And you will see me more in Meridian as I walk and canvas the communities and see what it is that I can do to instill in you to get you to vote. Now, I want you to vote. Now, I want you to vote for Jimmy Copeland. That's who I'm supportive of. It's okay to vote independent. You should be an independent thinker. You should break party lines. If somebody's asking you to vote for Percy, tell them to explain to you why you should vote for Percy Bland. If someone such as myself asks you to vote for Jimmy Copeland, then ask me to explain why you should vote for Jimmy Copeland. I think I've done so today, explaining why you should vote for him. The very reason why I don't even need to tell you why you shouldn't vote for Jimmy Smith, because he's no longer a factor. So, but why Percy Bland? So I'm asking you, why are you voting for Percy Bland? Why would you vote for him? Now it's time for us to create real change in Meridian. Now it's time for us to give Meridian what it's deserved. All Meridianites deserve something better. We as citizens or property owners in the city of Meridian deserve something better. It is time for us to do that. It is time for us to create a real fresh start. It is time for us to elect Jimmy Copeland as mayor for Meridian, Mississippi. And here's a quote from Mr. Copeland. He said, if we continue to do what we have always done, we will continue to get what we have always gotten. Thank y'all for listening and share this video. And leave your comments up. And I'll see you guys next week. I don't know what time, but you will see me next week. And every time I have something to tell you, I will tell it to you on Reaching Out with Eddie. Again, I'm reaching out to you for real change. We can do better. A fresh start. Jimmy Copeland for mayor. Thank you.